Hi, my name is Mike, and this is the second part of my recap of Brave and the Bold issue number 102. I'm going to go to direct currents here, see some of the upcoming titles that DC is going to come out. One is The Unknown Soldier, and it involves a plot where they're going to kill or try to General Eisenhower. They had to tell their readers no, they did. They weren't successful in that. So like even before the comic comes out, DC's like spoilers. The second one is The Witching Hour. That was issue number 21, and they're just coming up with what the stories are. They were anthologies, so since there were no reoccurring characters, it was hard to describe them. And then we have another anthology title from Beyond the Unknown. I think I have a bunch of issues of those. They never really interest me. And they're saying the new Justice League of America, number 99 is coming out. And so, yeah, it looks like they're promoting that issue. And the horror title, the Sinister House, number 5 is coming out. They're talking about the artist here, because again, it's anthologies. And the new Superman issue, number 253, is also coming out. And they're saying Denny O'Neil is one of the writers. And they're going to have a reprint in it. Okay, turn the page. The next story is the one related to Robotman. And this is his origin tale. I don't think the comic tells us when this issue was first printed. So I don't know whether it's like Doom Patrol number 1 or something like that. Excuse my voice. We're seeing a newscast here, and it's telling us that Robotman is on the rampage. And this is a time when we weren't given credits for who did what. So I don't know who did the art. The art's really not that bad. It's kind of a dated style, but it's really not that bad. And I have to say, we know who the writer is. I think that was Arnold Drake. And Arnold Drake can write. He has a nice ear for dialogue here, and I really enjoyed the dialogue. And it felt very contemporary in some ways. So anyway, we're told by the newscaster that the big story of the day is Robotman is on the rampage. We see him lifting up a car similar to Action Comics number 1. He's about to throw it at some police officers here. The newscaster is saying that who Robotman really is, and that it's actually a well-known celebrity whose brain was basically transplanted into this robotic body. And apparently this has been going on for like 3 weeks. And then we're treated to a flashback here of the guy. His name is Cliff Steele. So Cliff Steele is kind of like one of these Bruce Wayne types. And one of his hobbies is race car driving. And he's talking about how great it is and how, just being in this car makes me feel very powerful. But then what happens is that there's an oil slick on the track, and his car crashes into the stadium spectators, which is something that did happen back then. Turn the page. Then the doctors, they're looking at Cliff here. They have the sheet over him, so they're declaring him, dead. one doctor here just says that this guy is just, he's just crisp. He's just a crispy chicken at this point, and his body's totally useless. Has no intrinsic value whatsoever. But another doctor is saying, hey, the brain is working fine. The rest of the body is a complete disaster, and it doesn't work. But God damn it, that brain is still operating at 100% capacity. So what they did was that they came up with the surgery that would transplant this guy's brain into this robot. To say this is highly unethical is an understatement here. The surgeon who has the brain, the brain in the I think the bowl, similar to like how Nighthawk's brain was in some of those great Steve Gerber issues. The brain here kind of looks like it's on a plate. I'd be a little worried that maybe this doctor took a nibble out of it, thinking, hey, this might be our grub. And we see another doctor here. He's kind of tisk-tisking this doctor, saying, you need to be careful with that. That's not a bowl of cereal here. This is a human brain, and we're gonna put it basically into this lamp here. That's how it's drawn. And but it turns out that the brain does survive, and the brain still operates. So basically, this is Cliff here, and he's sentient, and he's aware, but the thing is, he doesn't quite understand what's going on because he feels physically different than what he used to be. The nurse who hears him as he's waking up, she kind of looks like Kate Jackson, but she's kind of treating this as matter of fact. Oh, like, hey, how you doing? How you doing, Mr. Steve, Mr. Cliff? So she's treating this like nothing, but it turns out to be a big deal here because he notices his voice doesn't sound the same, just kind of like mine. And he's noticing his hands. And he's saying, hey, these things are made of metal here. And then he falls out of the bed. And it turns out he finds out that he's all metal. And then he sees himself in the mirror, but he sees himself as a monstrosity. So this is the human with his brain transplanted into the machine. Obviously, this issue kind of follows a lot of the Doom Patrol TV series, which I saw a few episodes. I did enjoy it, but for some reason, I just didn't finish it. You can turn the page. Take a look at some ads here. Nothing really interesting. The bodybuilder one was one that was in comics for years. There's an ad from the American Dog Registry where they'll teach your dog to be a violent police dog. So if you want an attack dog, they'll teach you how to do it. That's horrible to do that to a dog. Then we see the mini carts and a few other ads. Some early ads for back issues of comics. This was around the time where I think comic shops were coming into vogue. Probably a few years later. We see an in-house ad for two issues. One is the Tales of the Unexpected or The Unexpected. Decent cover. It's more realistic horror than fantasy horror. Then we see the cover to Action Comics, and this is where Superman is being tormented by a voodoo doll from a really decrepit old man. This cover would not make me want to buy this issue. I got to be honest. If I had a quarter in 1972, I'd be spending it wiser than that story or that at least that cover. Go back to the story. We see Cliff. He's very angry. He's stuck in his body here. It's kind of like what Margaret Sanger said. If you want to change someone, change how they look. Oh, boy, this guy had a huge change in his personality and everything that makes him him. The nurse is saying, listen, you're alive, and you should be focused on that. Think of the positive things. For example, one, you're always hard. You are always hard. And we have a whole industry of Blue Chew and Viagra, of guys who wish they were as hard as you. And Robotman, he's saying, you call this living? Okay, sweetie, how about a date tonight? How'd you like to kiss these iron lips? How'd you like to be married to me? Huh. And then the nurse is like, please let me go. You're frightening me. So yeah, he's pointing out that this isn't living. And hey, you want to date me to prove it? Do you know how miserable a date I can be? So then Robotman, he's going to vow revenge on who did this to him. Because this is like an inhuman experiment. And he was the guinea pig. The nurse, she runs away. Robotman, he's breaking up the hospital room. He's throwing the beds out and everything. Then we see these two orderlies who look like they are members of the Gambino crime family. And I guess mobsters by night, orderlies by day. And they're hearing all this noise, and they feel they can handle this. I guess they get a lot of cranky patients, and these two are immediately thrown through the wall. So they had no chance whatsoever. Turn the page. Robotman is going on a rampage. He's beating up all these doctors and all these nurses. He's saying, listen, I'm a freak, and I'm gonna be Dr. Kill Patient. And he's pissed. He's scaring the shit out of them. But it turns out that, one of the doctors, and I think we saw him in silhouette earlier, and this, of course, is the doctor of Doom Patrol. He has an idea, and he's the guy who did the surgery. And he's saying, listen, we'll get some of this emergency oxygen. And Robotman, who has taken one of the gurneys, the where they wheel the patient in and out, he's riding on one of those. And but the thing is, the doctor, who appears to be in a wheelchair, he throws the oxygen pellet at Robotman, and somehow it causes a fog, and he loses consciousness. Because the thing is that Robotman, his brain needs oxygen to survive. So even though he's made of metal, he still needs to breathe because he has to oxygenate his brain. So that makes him susceptible to, gases. And that's what the gas did. The wheelchair guy, he's pointing to his colleagues saying, I have him here. We see Robotman. He's tied in manacles. Apparently they have this medieval type dungeon, and we're giving a little bit of expository dialogue. There's kind of a medical ethical debate here. The doctor who performed the operation feels that he behaved ethically because the patient's alive, even though he's in a tin can. The other doctor is saying, no, this is wrong. The person whose brain is in the robot's body, they will never adjust to what they are now. And it's just inhumane to do this. Turn the page. So we see this medical debate being played out. The doctor who performed the operation, who's making the case that I can bring back this guy's humanity, he said, I'm not going to abandon him here. This is a long-term project I'm aware of. I'll take him in, I'll rehabilitate him into adjusting into being who he is. Similar to like what they had to do in RoboCop. And also RoboCop 2. When they had the criminal who didn't want to be in that metal suit, in the metal suit. And so this is kind of RoboCop before RoboCop. But they're having this ethical debate whether Robotman can be rehabilitated, because he hates these guys at this point. Robotman, being a good mental patient, he lets it be known that he's going to cooperate. This cooperation allows the doctors to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's not going to pull a fast one, but he pulls a fast one, and he grabs both of the doctors who freed him, saying, "Ha suckers, I'm not making any deals with you. And you better take me to that doctor who did this to me, or else." So we see the head doctor, he's gotten news that Robotman has escaped because he was told, where to go to get the doctor he wanted revenge on. They're calling security. The head doctor here, he's calling security, saying that, Robotman is on the loose. Robotman, he smashes into the prison gates, to get to the dormitory here. I don't know. Wouldn't be called a dormitory. Turn the page. But before I do that, I did like this whole thing. You pill-pushing creeps. So people were kind of aware of that situation even back then. So anyway, we see a scene where it's a television station, and it looks like they're going to report this news about Robotman. I guess Robotman, he's still out there. He's still being a menace. So people have to know that this guy is still on the loose. We see that the news reporter is giving some expository dialogue about what's going on. They're trying to bring Robotman out into the open, but they were sort of guessing on things on how to handle him, and but it feels like they think Robotman will show up at this particular place because they know who he's looking for. So the thing is, the authorities are saying, listen, we have this area surrounded because we know this is who Robotman is looking for. And they're making a bet on whether Robotman will show up or not because there's a big police presence. But the thing is, Robotman, who is watching this newscast, he's so angry, he goes ahead and he says, fuck these people. I'm showing up. That's how badly Robotman wants revenge. And then he kind of just basically is going on a rampage here. Turn the page. Nicely drawn art. It's a little dated, the style, but I don't really think it's that bad. So anyway, we see a helicopter here. Everyone's searching for Robotman. They don't know when he'll show up, but they have a good guess where he'll head, simply because that's who he wants revenge on. I think the police are reporting whether or not they see him approaching or not. The thing is, the police are being told that he can't be taken alive. He's not to reach his destination alive. So they're saying that's sort of like an indirect way of saying you can murk this guy. Police cruiser encounters Robotman. Then Robotman looks and he sees a truck, a police truck. So it looks like the police have cornered him. And they said, when they told the police to fire on him with their guns, they said, go for the head, because that's the only part of his brain It's the only part of his body that's vulnerable. We could put a bullet through that, not the rest of him though. Yeah, this is an interesting page. None of these police officers are taking any type of cover. They're just firing away. Turn the page. Robot Man, he's not impressed with this. The bullets are bouncing off of him, and he's kind of gloating here at this point. And it looks like he's gotten over the gas, because the gas that was thrown at him that kind of knocked him out. Now it looks like it's kind of worn off at this point. Robot Man needs a weapon, so he decides to rip off one of his arms. Yeah, even the caveman didn't do that. Like, if I need a club, I'm not going to take a knife to my shoulder, just so I have a club, while I'm bleeding, through the other arm. But the thing is that since this is a metal arm, I guess the consequences aren't as large. However, so he's wielding this large weapon. We're told that it weighs 200 pounds. That's just his arm. And so the police want to stay clear of that. Robot Man, he runs away. Then he says, "Sorry, I can't stay, kiddies. I love just playing cops and wobbers with you. Ha ha ha." Kind of doing the Elmer Fudd thing. Robot Man, he's walking through the city. It's currently deserted at this point. Robot Man feels that he's close to home, and that if he can just get a few more blocks, he'll be okay. But then it turns out there's some type of drop hole or crater on the sidewalk that's covered by tarp. So Robot Man falls into this kind of clumsily. He's even noting that. Turn the page. Then we see Robot Man, because of that goof up, he found himself kind of like trapped at this point. So Robot Man knows it's difficult for him to get out, because he's a big heavy guy and he might have to scale the walls, or he might use his arm as a club. So then he starts digging, and I don't know what he's doing. But then there's a bulldozer that's down here, and Robot Man, he's still tackling the bulldozer. Looks like Robot Man is about to kick this guy in the head, which, given his current state, he might obliterate him. He begs for mercy, this henchman. And he's not sure why Robot Man saved him. Turn the page. But then again, Robot Man goes through this philosophical moment, thinking to himself, they'll never understand, these normals, that I'm not a born killer. It's just this brain inside of me keeps pounding and burning like it's going to explode. Sorry for the poor reading. Yeah, so it looks like he's a bit tormented here, because his brain and what he sees isn't kind of matching, And he's kind of a little resentful about the way people are looking at him. Saying, don't blame me, blame society. And Robot Man heads to the sewers, and for some reason he's going to ignite the gas down there. Turn the page. But then something goes wrong, and a sewage pipe opens up, and then Robot Man is taken inside the sewage pipe, and he's going through the currents, and then he reaches an exit of sorts from at least the sewer, and he's trying to go. Yeah, so from the I guess the lower sewer, and you have the upper sewer. Then that's where the manhole covers are, and then you go outside on the street. And that's what it looks like Robotman is doing. He's trying to open the manhole cover from underneath so he can reach the street. And turn the page. Do we need to look at this ad? I don't think so. It's one that's fairly common. So we're going to go back to the story. We see Robotman. He lifts the manhole cover, so he's out of the sewer, but he doesn't attach his arm yet, so he's carrying it around kind of like a club. The police they see him. They tell him to halt, to comply. They have their guns drawn on him. But it turns out that there's some issue where Robotman needs to catch this cylinder. Robotman says to the police, "Okay, you finks, take one more step and I'll pull this tank of oxygen to my chest and ignite it with a big spark. That's a big bang, kitty. Now get back, kitties." So Robotman's making the threat that if you don't comply with me, I'm going to ignite what's in the air. The mayor says that the explosion would be too large and that it would hurt his re-election chances. So he pulls the officers back. Robotman, he takes advantage of the situation and he heads out to, I think, City Hall. But he's complaining that he can't really run fast because he tore his arm out. So he tears his arm out, but for some reason, it affects his legs. I don't know what's going on. Turn the page. Robotman breaks in. He sees a surgical room or a surgical theater, and he encounters someone. And Robotman, he touches the guy trying to pull his face off. The guy cries, saying, "Listen, I'm not the guy you want." Apparently these two have some type of history. So then Robotman, he's choking this masked guy, saying, "It could be a dame. Wait, I don't know what it is. Oh, okay, so I understand. So anyway, this guy, he apparently had some type of surgery, and his face is covered, and Robotman is making the assumption that it's some guy, but someone else is saying no, it's not that guy, it's another guy. So he's looking for the doctor who did the operation, Robotman. So the woman here charges in and says, no, he's not the one who did the operation. And but she doesn't say who. However, the doctor in the wheelchair, he says, yes, I'm the one who did the operation. I'm the one that you're looking to murk. And then Robotman grabs him, pulls him up by the wheelchair and says, okay, Gramps, say your prayers. And then he's told off panel that the guy that he's about to murk is an invalid. That he can't walk. He's an invalid. That's the term they use. Robotman doesn't care. He says, listen, I don't care if he doesn't have working legs. I don't care if he doesn't have working arms or hands. Well, I'm going to get rid of this guy. And the doctor realizes, holy crap, he might be in some trouble here with Robotman. But it looks like some others are trying to stop Robotman. One is the daughter, it looks like, and the other is the guy that was the guy who had the surgery done to him. The doctor explains that he's putting together a group of special people. Each of them have a power. I'm going to train them. So this is the birth of the X-Men here. Because the X-Men was clearly based on the Doom Patrol. He says that the X-Men was, I guess, the X-Men was more memorable, but the Doom Patrol really was the start of the X-Men here. So then Robotman realizes that he might have a home here, saying that, listen, he might not have anywhere else to go that won't call him like a freak. And so this is how the Doom Patrol started. And the other two are saying we're also freaks. Not that type of freak, but we can be. And here's an in-house ad for a new issue of Superman. Neil Adams cover. The figures look great, amazing. They're not really doing anything special though. I would not have enjoyed that issue. I'm gonna go to the letters page. It's kind of broken up a little interestingly. The first thing is an editor's note. That's explaining what happened to Jim Aparo, that he had gotten sick halfway through the issue, and Neil Adams kind of picked up for Jim Aparo. And they're saying that Neil was very respectful of Jim as an artist, and he was trying to make the issue as looking as much as Jim as possible. And they also mentioned, the printer's deadlines, because remember they had to pay huge fees if they missed the deadline. They're mentioning Neil Adams again, saying that he might be doing some new issues. I don't think he did though. It was Jim Aparo's comic. They're also talking about the 100th anniversary edition of the 100th anniversary issue. So the letters are about issue number 100. That was a good story. And all of the letters seem to be positive here. And they liked how they integrated the other three heroes. Because that issue was Batman, Green Lantern, Green Arrow, and Black Canary. So the fans really appreciated the fact that each of them got some time. And they also fit Robin in. That issue does contain one of the worst examples of Bob Hanley's sexism, where during this huge chase, Black Canary is having her hair done. Mind you, this is a character who wears a wig, but nevertheless, during the course of this, Black Canary decides she's not going to search and that she's going to get her nails and her hair done at the spa. And Robin sees her, and Robin admonishes her. Robin puts Black Canary, in her place. You figure this is a woman who's at least 28 years old. You figure you got the boy Wonder who's 14, so there's an age difference there. And the 14-year-old boy is, you listen here, woman. And that was terrible Bob Hanley sexism. But overall it was a pretty good issue. Then there are some letters about the general direction of the comic. One person is writing that Brave and the Bold issues rarely rely on supervillains. So it's usually Batman solving some type of crime against the general population. So that's what he's complaining about. Another one is saying, listen, why don't you have an issue with Aqualad and Robin? Yeah. Highline an issue that is, Brave and the Bold. Robin, Aqualad. That would be the lowest selling comic for the entire year. But the editors are mentioning that they will be highlighting the Teen Titans in Brave and the Bold. Some random stuff is that they're talking about number 101, saying, why don't you bring more of Element Man into the comics? Some are looking for Dead Man encounters. And some people are mentioning issue number 99, which was horrible. There was this one letter. Not number 99 was lousy. The ghost stuff was handled very sloppily, and the dialogue was hokey. The art, words can't describe it. It was so awful. This is Lisa Jane from Canton, Massachusetts. She was 100% right. She was 100% right about issue number 99. I hated reading that issue. It was just horrible. Talking about Batman and the Legion of Superheroes. I think that happened like a few decades later. And then we see that. Oh, they're talking about World's Finest now, saying that they're kind of confirming that World's Finest was basically a Superman version of Brave and the Bold, where he was teamed up with another hero, but then eventually it became a comic dedicated to just the Batman Superman team up, and but it wasn't 100% confirmed yet that the title was going in that direction, but it did. So I don't know if there were many fans who say they wanted Batman Superman at least once a month. That's what they ended up doing, so I guess it's true. It's the end of the letters. Take a look at an ad. It's bodybuilding. This is when this stuff was just becoming popular. Turn the page. See decals, which are like patches, and you get ones like Go and the peace sign. Not terribly exciting, to be honest. And this is a line of toys for dump trucks. So if you dream of being, I guess, a contractor and work for a developer, this is how you practice. And that's it. And that is my review of The Brave and the Bold, issue number 102. And I hope to have more reviews up soon. Bye.